Distinguished hosts and all my dear friends and neighbors in the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, thank you so very much for the privilege of sharing your annual Jalsa Salana conference. My address today is entitled Our America, and my name is Brian Levin. For almost 2 decades, I have directed the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism in San Bernardino, a community that has endured the evil scourge of violent hatred by extremists who distorted your faith and claimed to be Muslim. But as His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad explained, if a person does not follow a particular teaching properly, whilst claiming to subscribe to it, then it is he who is in error, not the teaching. Indeed, for over a century, your community has been a shining star in our twinkling constellation of American faiths. From veterans on foreign battlefields to scientists and medical doctors, if I twisted my ankle, I think I'd be very well cared for today. And of course, your incredibly outsized contributions to the uniquely American art form of jazz music. Most importantly, though, it is our common embrace of 2 core American values that brings me here today: the divinity of human life and the centrality of individual liberty, particularly in the area of religious freedom. To appreciate the centrality of religious liberty in our America, one need only look no further than the words of our foundational texts and those of our founding fathers, which make America truly exceptional. Our American Constitution's Article 5 bans religious tests for any office or public trust. The First Amendment prohibits the establishment of religion, as well as laws impeding the free exercise of it. And the 14th Amendment guarantees equal protection of the laws. Of the myriad accomplishments of his lifetime, Thomas Jefferson, America's 2nd president, who interestingly died on July 4th, picked only 3 for the epitaph on his tombstone: author of the Declaration of American Independence and of the Statute of Virginia for Religious Freedom, and father of the University of Virginia. Like our current president, Jefferson's detractors exploited the prejudices of the time by falsely accusing him of being a secret Muslim. The words of America's first president, George Washington, over 2¼ centuries ago to the Thoreau Synagogue in Newport, Rhode Island, still ring true for us today. For happily the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance, requires only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens in giving it on all occasions their effectual support. His Holiness embraces this very ideal. All people should have fundamental freedoms, such as religious, political, national, and civil freedom, he said. Yet the extraordinary mosaic of Muslim Americans, of which you are a proud part, has produced numerous unique American heroes. One, sports legend Muhammad Ali, who we lost just this June, counseled in the months before his passing, "I am a Muslim, and there is nothing Islamic about killing innocent people in Paris, San Bernardino, or anywhere else in the world. True Muslims know that the ruthless violence of so-called Islamic jihadists goes against the very tenets of our religion." But perhaps Ali's greatest strength lay not in his punch, but in his faith, which inspired pacifism and tolerance. He said, "When you believe in God, you should believe that all people are part of one family. If you love God, you can't love only some of his children." Just 2 nights ago in Philadelphia, we heard about another Muslim American hero, U.S. Army Captain Humayun Khan. His grief-stricken father, Khizr Khan, while holding a copy of the Constitution, told America how Humayun was lost his life in Iraq while valiantly protecting American soldiers under his command. Mr. Khan's eloquence moved the nation when he noted that had bans on Muslims actually been enacted, his son would never have been able to serve our country. These messages stand in stark contrast to the deafening cacophony of gunfire that struck my beloved community and later Orlando. While these killers sever the lives of family members from loved ones, in our America, we will simply not allow radical killers the additional harm of defeating American pluralism by severing communities of goodwill from one another. At a mosque in Baltimore this spring, President Obama observed, "America rejects bigotry. We reject every act of hatred against people of Arab background or Muslim faith. America values and welcomes peaceful people of all faiths." Oh, excuse me for a second. That was President George W. Bush speaking in my home state of California in 2002. President Obama actually said this, "You've seen too often people conflating the horrific acts of terrorism with the beliefs of an entire faith. And of course, recently we've heard inexcusable political rhetoric against Muslim Americans that has no place in our country. We're one American family. And when any part of our family starts to feel separate or second class or targeted, it tears at the very heart of our nation." Over the past year, candidates have boldly argued for and sometimes backtracked on temporarily banning entry to all Muslims, irrespective of who they are, shuttering mosques, registering Muslims in databases, killing relatives of terrorists, denying entry to America even to a 5-year-old refugee child, torture beyond waterboarding, as well as establishing a religious test for refugee admission and the presidency. One candidate likened Muslim refugees to rabid dogs, while another proclaimed, "I think Islam hates us." Our center's study found that in the non-calendar month following the November 13th Paris terrorist attack, hate crimes against Muslim Americans tripled from the monthly average of the previous 5 years. Let me say this. When God's light shines down from the stars over our American heroes in national cemeteries from Arlington, Virginia, to Riverside, California, He makes no distinctions between Muslim and non-Muslim either, and neither should we. In our America, religious liberty fulfills the dreams of our ancestors, but only if we work together to sustain it. My ancestors, including a grandmother who had to leave Russia, and a father who was a POW under the Nazis. After facing the violent scourge of anti-Semitism in Europe, they were cradled by a welcoming nation that they in turn loved so very much. Now we all must work to extend the promise of Emma Lazarus's prose, inscribed on the Statue of Liberty, to embrace yet a new generation here of Americans who come for the promise of religious freedom. Give me your tired, your huddled masses yearning to be freed, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden doors. My fellow Americans and friends around the world in the Ahmadiyyan Muslim community, it is such an incredible privilege as the son of immigrants and religious persecuted people to share the blessings of our America with you on this very special day. Salam alaikum, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you so much.